Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with our first appearance misdemeanor calendar. This is called the Expedited Accusation cases in which individuals who were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail, their criminal cases have now been formally accused by the Solicitor General of Fulton County. When we call the defendant, I will advise them of what the new case number is. What are the charges brought against them? To appoint counsel if required, and to set a bond. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Is this Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Okay. This is State versus Antonio Jones, position number 3 on our calendar. His new case number is 24 CR 6951G. Mr. Jones, you've been accused of criminal trespass from October 5th, 2024. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean.
No, Keith Cook, yeah.
Mr. Cook, all right.
You got 11.
Okay.
11. You saw the open burglary? He's supposed to go to FS for it.
All right. Has he already had tips?
I think he was reset from FS. So they didn't see him today, from what I was told. On probation in Henry County, theft by taking terrorist threats.
So that's a probation hold in Henry County then?
I think so.
Okay.
But last time he was here, they took the hold off, just so you know.
Okay, but I see a current hold in probation in Henry County. So.
Correct.
All right, Ms. Mokeke?
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like he also has a 2024 arrest for simple battery and a 2024 arrest for a marijuana possession less than 1 ounce. This incident occurred at the MAAC Centennial Park Apartments located at 305 Centennial Olympic Park Drive Northwest in Atlanta. The defendant is accused of taking packages that he stole from a different apartment complex into the bathroom of the mailroom at the incident location. He opened the packages and then put the stolen clothes on him. The officers noted that the clothes were stolen because they still had tags on them. The stolen packages had not yet been reported stolen, so there wasn't probable cause for an arrest at that time. So officers criminally trespassed the defendant from the location and told him that if he came back, he would be arrested. A few hours later, the leasing office of the location called and said that the defendant had come back and had attempted to enter the building by pulling on the doors. The state's recommendation based on his history is a $1,000 surety bond because there is a concern that he will reoffend. Stay away from that incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and a social worker visit might be beneficial for him as well.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 24 years old. He lives in Stockbridge. He's unemployed, so he has no income. I guess we don't know what. I guess he got no bond in felony court because there wasn't a hearing. We would be seeking, and realize that's a hold in Henry County, if eligible, if not restricted, a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate, no objection to a stay away or no contact, and we can ask the social workers to visit Mr. Jones.
So this alleged offense, criminal trespass at the MAC Centennial Park Apartments, allegedly occurred on October 5th. Mr. Jones was just released from Fulton County Jail on September 28th of this year. So I'm not certain what's going on, but the social worker visit is definitely in line. But the bond presently is going to be $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond to stay 500 yards away from the entire MAAC Centennial Olympic Park Apartments at 305 Centennial Olympic Park Drive. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And if he makes bond, he shall only be released to the Henry County hold. Unfortunately, he does have a felony hold at the present time, so he will have his initial appearance accordingly, probably today or tomorrow. Thank you. His next court date is going to be, is it October 22nd, Ms. Ms. Bridgewater?
Yes, Your Honor, it is October 22nd.
All right, thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. Come on.
We can go to ACDC.
ACDC, who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is going to be position number 1, Bates.
Okay. This is Shiree Banks. Ms. Banks is accused of stalking under accusation 24 CR 69488. And this is from incident date of October 8th. I'm not certain how long these alleged communications were going on, but that's the charge that's been issued against her. Ms. Banks, you have been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
2016 probation, 2013 FTA, 2013 battery dismissed. That's it.
Ms. Mukeke?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Jerry Honor Razor. The defendant is dating Miss Razor's children's father. The defendant has been harassing and intimidating Miss Razor by sending her aggressive text messages and also contacting her through social media. The defendant has also reached out to Miss Razor's mother and contacted other women that her boyfriend has children with to talk about the victim. The harassing communications began around August of this year, and she has been harassing the victim continuously ever since. Our office has had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Jerry Honor Razor, who states that her child's father is currently incarcerated for violence against her, and that might be what started all of this. The defendant has been dating her child's father for about a year, and at first they were cordial, but once the victim and the child's father had a disagreement, the defendant inserted herself into that disagreement and has been harassing her ever since. The last communication that she received from the defendant was on September 26th of this year, when the defendant contacted her through her child's father's Instagram page to harass her. The victim has filed a TPO in Cobb County. That TPO has been granted. The TPO was served on the defendant, and that is when she was arrested. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, that the defendant have no further contact with the victim, Miss Razor, that she stay away from the victim's residence, and that she have no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I would ask the court to sound for Miss Jerry Honor Razor.
Ms. Razor, if you're on Zoom, this would be the time to unmute and start your video. Mr. Cook, anything else to add?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 39 years old. She is a phlebotomy lab manager at Piedmont Hospital. Her position is completely the opposite. That she has blocked Ms. Razor from texting her. She denies the allegations as stated in the warrant, and her position is that it's Ms. Razor, the alleged victim, who is the aggressor verbally, and has even come to her location. So she's blocked her on social media, my understanding from my client. And at the very worst, we're talking about verbal communication here. But again, our position is that it's running the other way, and that the alleged victim is the aggressor here. We would seek a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate. No further contact is fine. She doesn't want contact, and is trying to cut it off to the degree she can. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Mukeke, do you know that TPO from Cobb County was pursuant to a default hearing, or did Ms. Banks attend that hearing?
I am not sure, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. On the stalking charge, it's going to be $1,000 surety bond. No contact with Ms. Razor and her immediate family members. Ms. Shiree, you are to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Razor. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including in person, third party, through mail, email, phones, computer devices, and even discusser or referencer on any kind of social media platform. You are to have not consume, you're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess or own any firearms. And you are to be in strict compliance with any Superior Court protective order issued by Cobb County. Your next court date is going to be October 22nd. If you do bond out, please be sure that you provide us with a good mailing address to send you summons of when to come back to court. Thank you.
Next, we go to position number 2, Mr. Brooks.
This is State versus Maurice Brooks, accused of battery family violence from November 9th, 2023. Mr. Brooks, your case number is 24CR 006949J. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Keith Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
2019 probation, 2016 simple battery no low, 07 ag stalking battery DV, second subsequent first offender.
Is that felony case still open? One ending in 7425?
I don't know, let me look.
24 PI. All right, Ms. Mukherjee, while we're waiting on that, what's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. This particular incident occurred November 9th, 2023. The incident location is 262 Arthur Langford Jr. Place, Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Maya Rose Berry. She shares 3 children with the defendant. Around 5 a.m. the day of the incident, the defendant began accusing the victim of cheating on him. The defendant then got up on top of the victim and punched her several times in the face and also in her private area. Officers observed swelling on the defendant's cheek and on her chin. Officers observed swelling on the victim's cheek and on her chin. When officers asked the victim why she hadn't called the police earlier, she stated that the defendant had taken her phone and she wasn't able to get away until later on. The defendant is also accused of assaulting the victim on September of 2021. Unfortunately, that case had to be NOD'd because of the statute of limitations. During that incident, the defendant sustained a split lip that required her to get stitches, and she also had swelling to her face. The defendant has an open felony case, that 24 PI 007425, from an incident that happened October 1st, 2022, in which the defendant kneed the victim in her stomach, punched her in her chest, and also kicked her in her private parts, and then poured bleach on her body and on her face. The victim suffered contusions, had scratches to her face, and complained of blurred vision. Each time the defendant has attacked the victim, it's because he has accused her of cheating on him. So as we can see, there is a continued pattern of violence against this victim, and there is a concern for her safety and also for the safety of her children. The state's recommendation is going to be for a $3,000 cash bond, that he have no further contact with this victim or the minor children, that he stay away from the incident location. If that incident location is no longer where the victim lives, that he stay away from the victim's residence, that there be no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that he take an FVIP.
So he was reset in court today, so he'll go tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 39 years old. He works off and on in construction. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. He would have no problem with a stay away and no further contact. They don't live in the same. I think at one point they lived in the same rooming house. I believe that has changed. I know he does not live there anymore. Beyond that, we would just note his very low income. In fact, I don't even have a number, and would ask that the bond be in the nature of a surety bond. We would object to the FVIP. Nothing further.
What? On the this new case involving Miss Maya Rose Berry, the bond's going to be set at $2,000. It is a cash bond only. The court is seriously concerned about the safety of the alleged victim, given the pattern of alleged attacks upon her. His next court date is going to be October 22nd. And if he does make bond, he is to stay 500 yards away from Maya Roseberry, including wherever she's physically located, her residence, her place of work, and he's to have no contact with the children that he shares with Miss Berry. If he wishes to have any kind of joint visitation and custody, he would need to file the appropriate legitimation action. Thank you. Oh, no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Thank you.
Macy, this is position number 5.
This is
Yes. Man Love, number 5, thank you.
Thank you. This is State versus Artisa Rena Mandler, accused of 2 counts of battery from August 4th, 2024, involving one Miss Kiara Westfield or Wingfield. Miss Mandler, you've been accused of 2 counts of battery under accusation 24 CR 6950A. You have been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
4th arrest. Last was 08, possession of marijuana, dismissed.
All right, thank you.
That's my
Ms.
case, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. This is an incident that occurred on August the 4th of 2024 at about 4 p.m. Police were called to 4555 Washington Road. There it was reported by the victim, Mrs. Wingfield, that during a domestic with her ex, his name is Jaden Manlove, and he's the son of the young woman in front of you. She asked Jaden to leave the location, and he called his mom. Mrs. Artika Manlove came to the location there on Washington Road, where the ex of her son lives, confronted her, punched her multiple times, and dragged her across the room. She was able to flee the location with her son before police arrived, and the victim was seen to have a busted, swollen lip, a laceration on her chest, as well as carpet burns on both of her legs. These were documented on body-worn camera, and a warrant was obtained. She was just picked up. We've reached out to the victim today, but haven't heard back. If you'd sound for Mrs. Wingfield, Kiara Wingfield, we'd be asking for a $2,000 surety, Your Honor. Absolutely no contact with Miss Wingfield. Stay away from the Washington Road. That's 4555 Avenue, or address, excuse me, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Right. And that was a surety bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Deciding you're going to go assault the young woman that your son is currently dealing with by showing up at her house and assaulting her is an issue. It's a safety issue, not just for her, but anybody else.
Thank you. Mr. McLean? I'm sorry, Mr. McLean, please unmute.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
My client is a graduate of high school from Chicago Vocational High School, Your Honor. She has been in the Atlanta area for decades, and so she is quite local. She works as a medication aide at Roswell, and her previous job was the same. She's in the healthcare field. She denies the allegations and asked the court to consider a signature bond.
Is Mr. Jaden Manlove on Zoom? No? Romeo is not here to try to bail out his mom? Okay. Ms. Manlove, your bond is going to be set at $2,000 on each count. That's going to be a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And this is going to be a level 3 report. I'm going to give you a signature bond, so you don't have to pay for your bond today, but you'll need to report to pretrial services once a week. You are to stay 500 yards away from Sarah Wingfield and any of her immediate family members or children. You are to also stay away from where she works, where she lives, and at least 500 yards away, and that's the length of 5 football fields. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And if you engage in any such communication with her, you could be back in jail, and your $4,000 signature bond will be revoked and amended to a cash bond or a surety bond. While you are out on bond, you will attend and complete 12 anger management classes, and you will enroll in those classes within 30 days of being released. And those payment for those classes will come out of your own pocket. You must show proof of enrollment by your 4th visit with your pretrial officer. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you will be a random screen for either illegal substances or alcohol, and you are not to possess or own any firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Law. Also, thank you, courtroom two.
All right, thank you.
Next, we go to position number 4, Mr. Major.
This is State versus Frederick Major under accusation 24 CR 6952A, accused of simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass from July 1st, 2024. Mr. Major, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
26, 2019 battery DV conviction, 2018 probation, 2014 charge related to CWAC conviction, 2013 another charge. The original CWAC was from 1986 out of Florida.
All right,
That's
thank
it.
you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at 3540 North Camp Creek Parkway Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Tamika Stewart. Officers responded to the incident location in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim, who stated that her boyfriend, the defendant, came home and he was upset because she wasn't answering her phone. He then slapped her across the face and grabbed her by her neck. Before the police arrived, the defendant had taken his belongings and left the location. The victim's son, who has the initials KH, stated that he was in his room when the assault occurred and did not see it, but he did hear his mother crying. The defendant also threw a fan at the victim's wall, and officers observed broken glass all around the apartment and the apartment's living room and kitchen area. The victim told officers at the time that the defendant was responsible for the broken glass and also the damage to the wall. Our office has had a chance to speak with Ms. Stewart, who has now changed her story, which is not uncommon, particularly in cases like this when some time has passed. She is now denying the events in the warrant. She stated this was a mutual fight between the two of them, that she was the one throwing glass in the house, but she did admit that the defendant threw the fan at the wall. She says they've been living together since this incident and there has been no violence since. She's not afraid of him and wants to continue contact. The defendant has reached out to Ms. Stewart since he's been in jail, where he tells her that she is the reason that he is locked up, and she tells him she never called the police. They continue to talk about his charges, talk about him getting bond. She says that she will try to make it to court so that she can speak her mind so that he can get a signature bond. The state's recommendation in this case is going to be for a $1,500 surety bond on a simple battery, a $500 surety bond on a criminal trespass, stay away from the incident location, no further contact with the victim, anger awareness for drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And if you could please sound for Ms. Tamika Stewart.
Ms. Tamika Stewart, if you are on Zoom, this is the time to unmute and start your video. I have a Samsung, but I have no idea who that person is.
That's me.
Who is me?
I'm sorry, Miss Tamika Stewart.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Stewart, what would you like to tell us?
Most of that is true, but I don't like the way she just said, commonly untrue, that I changed my story. I never changed my story. I know exactly what I told the police. Me and her had an altercation, which he was gone when the police left. And my son, KH, who was there, said, yes, when he came out, I was crying. I'm always crying when we have an argument or whatever. I'm the one broke that glass in that house. And that officer just insisted, oh, did he hit you? Did he hit you? Then they came and when they came and said they had a warrant, the officer tried to push me down in the door and said, and cussed me out and said, "Oh, if he's not in there, I'm gonna be back to get your aid." So I was contacted by a detective saying, "Do you want to file charges against that officer and all this and that?" No. So I was informed as of yesterday that this same officer arrested him and said, "Yeah, it was your girl who called us." Not. I've never even called the police.
Anything else, Ms. Stewart?
That's it. Oh, and I'm not afraid of him. And like I told her, I did not change my story. Both of us had an altercation. It was not him. He had left.
Can I just ask her some minor questions?
Well, she is under oath. You may proceed.
So you're saying that you did not tell the police that the defendant grabbed you by your neck?
Ma'am, you asked me that earlier, didn't you? You
I
asked me
know
that
I have
this
not
morning.
spoken
Alright,
to you
stop,
until this very moment.
Stop, Ms. Mokeke, stop. I'm so sorry. Ms. Stewart,
Mhm.
it's not your moment to argue with the attorney. All right. Now, we have a warrant. We have allegations of body cam being taken by the police officer, and that's all information that's going to be fleshed out as we move forward in this case. But if you start arguing with Ms. Mokeke, you're going to be removed from Zoom immediately. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Mokeke, you may proceed with your first question again, please.
Yes, and this is my first time speaking with you. I think you're remembering speaking to our victim witness advocate. So do you remember telling the police that the defendant grabbed you by your neck?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember telling the police that the defendant slapped you?
No, I don't.
Okay. What were you guys fighting about?
I don't even know really.
Okay.
I
And
can't
you
remember.
said you don't remember
I think
telling the police.
he came home. I didn't answer the phone or something like that. It was nothing.
Okay. And you said you don't remember telling the police the defendant slapped you, so the police made that up.
I didn't say the police made that up.
Where would they get that information if you didn't tell them?
From me, I said I don't remember.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Anything else, Ms. Stewart?
Yes, I see where this going. Yes, ma'am.
I beg your pardon? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Because it's like everything I clearly don't remember that day because there was so many people out there. I don't really clearly remember what happened that day.
So what do you mean by you see where this is going? I'm only gathering information. So I've never touched this case in my life. Where do you think this is going?
I feel like I'm being the victim now.
You are the victim in this case.
I mean, on the other side.
I don't know what other side means. You are a victim in a case against Mr. Frederick Major.
Same thing I told the police. I told the solicitor or whoever called me this morning. Both of us was in an altercation.
Understood.
And I paid, huh?
I understand that. And you have not said anything that's different from the warrant. You've been very consistent with what you've said, what you've responded to Ms. Mokeke. It's been consistent with the warrant. So I really don't know what your concern is. Whatever you've said is exactly what's in the warrant.
The concern is they make it seem so harsh when both of us fighting, just like I told the police.
The question of whether it was a mutual combat or whether it was one person being aggressive to the other, that's going to be something that's going to be fleshed out during the trial. But right now, Mr. Major is the one charged with the crime, and I have to move accordingly. Do you have anything else to add?
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. You may mute your screen. Mr. McLean?
I think
It's my
Very good.
case, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cook, sorry about that.
That's
Mr. Cook?
okay. Your Honor, my client is 56 years old. It is my understanding they have lived together for a number of years. The client has, the alleged victim has expressed no fear and the desire for further contact. We would be asked that he would be able to return to the location where they live together and to continue to do so with no further violent contact. And we would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Major, on the simple battery family violence is going to be a $2,000 surety bond. On the criminal trespass is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 3. You have what we call a split bond, and you would need to comply with the conditions of the bond in order to maintain the signature bond status. The conditions of the signature bond status is that you will, once you pay for the surety part, you are to report to pretrial once a week. You are to have no further contact with Tamesia Stewart, and you are to stay away from 3540 North Camp Creek Way, that entire apartment complex. So within 30 days of being released on your bond, you must update the court with your new mailing address. Within 30 days also of being released on the bond, you are to enroll in a qualified domestic violence intervention program. And this is a 26-week program where you're to pay for each class out of your own pocket. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And you need to report to court when summoned. Your next court date is going to be October 22nd. Of course, if you bond out, then do be sure to comply with these conditions. DVIP and I believe level 3. All right. If you get arrested again for anything else, or if you violate the conditions of your bond, the $3,000 portion of your bond will be revoked and converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we can go to position number 1 on the add-on calendar, Mr. Franklin.
Do we have Mr. Larry McCrary today?
Yes.
Okay. The add-on position is 24 CR 006-953C, State versus Marvin Franklin. And if you just give me a moment to get to that calendar.
In your honor, this case has been accepted as a transfer to felony court because the defendant has a previous battery family violence conviction from August of this year. So we are preparing a transfer order. We're just waiting for the DA to sign off on it. So I don't know if you still want to proceed with.
Well, I just need to let him know. Mr. Marvin Franklin, you are currently accused in state court of Fulton County of a misdemeanor battery family violence. Allegedly from October 8th, 2024. You've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Is it Mr. McLean or Mr. Cook? Mr. McLean?
It'll be Mr.
Mr.
No,
Cook.
this was a conflict. This should be Ms. McLeod, I believe.
Okay.
All right. So I guess the public defender's office is going to remove themselves from representation, and you would need a conflict attorney to be appointed to represent you if you cannot afford an attorney and you qualify for indigent defense. However, if you do not qualify, you'll need to hire your own attorney. In the meantime, this battery family violence charge has been considered and accepted as a felony matter by the District Attorney's Office of Fulton County. So your case is going to be transferred to the Superior Court of Fulton County to be addressed as a felony matter, which means that you will have your first appearance most likely tomorrow, at which time a bond may be considered. Thank you.
Hey, what's the reset date for SAP?
October 22nd.
Thank you. 22nd.
This is Mr. McCurry, position number 6.
Thank you. This is State versus Larry McCrary, accused of hit and run, failure of the driver to stop or return to the scene of the accident, and driving while license suspended or revoked from an incident date of September 13th, 2024. Mr. McCrary, your accusation number is 24 CR 6947F, and you have been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean.
I counted about 59 on probation for DUI out of the cab, 2016 FTA, 2016 trespass, 2016 battery disorderly conduct conviction.
When was the DUI conviction from DeKalb?
It was sentenced November 15th, 2023, 12
November
months.
15th, 2023, which would be consistent with the license suspension date. Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened on September the 13th. At about 9 p.m., police were called to the intersection at Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Southwest and Fulton Industrial Boulevard. They met with the victim there, Mr. Craig Bergman, Burgman. He reported that while driving his red Toyota Camry, he'd been struck by the defendant. He described the defendant and his vehicle and provided the tag number. I believe he'd also taken a picture of the defendant. Officers researched the information for the vehicle. The vehicle came back registered to this gentleman here, and it was seen that he had just had his license suspended based on his DUI in November of 2023. A warrant was obtained on the 13th, right after this happened. I would note his driver's history includes multiple failures to appear and also reckless driving and DUI, and he's a multi-state convicted felon, Your Honor. We'd ask for a $2,000 surety and no driving. We'd also ask for no drugs, alcohol, or weapons and random screens.
All right, thank you, Ms. Allen. I'm so sorry. Mr. McCrary, I'll give you an opportunity to speak after your attorney contributes to this and also gives you a warning. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, my client denies that he was illegally driving because at the time that DUI sentence, he believes he has documentation which is going to show that he was given a limited work and other purposes driving. He'd like to emphasize that, and he did mention that to me today. He denies the other allegations, Your Honor, and will later on go to trial on this. We realize what the history is in terms of the arrest record. We do understand that. But nonetheless, Your Honor, would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond or as low as possible surety bond. He does have the correct address on his 3 card. He won't be missing his mail. His 3 card also shows his correct phone number, and the emergency number is only off by 1 digit. So some people, sometimes people just have a little handwritten typo. So we would ask the court to allow him to have a signature bond.
Your client wants to say something. Should we proceed with that?
I think that Mr. McCray probably needs to understand that this is not the trial. We don't have to prove any facts or disprove any facts. We're not going to be able to prove or disprove anything about your assertion that you believe that you were okay with driving that day. The judge is not going to decide that issue. She's simply going to decide what is a fair bond.
And I understand that. I just wanted to make the court aware that I have a limited permit driver's license. My driver's license isn't suspended, and I do not have failure to appears. I do not. I just received a signature bond from DeKalb County because of the fact that I do not have failure to appears.
I'm sorry, just received a signature bond from DeKalb County? When?
From not DeKalb County, from pre-trial.
From when?
Maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. 2 or 3 months ago.
You have another case in DeKalb County?
No. I had a charge that was dismissed in DeKalb County, but I received a.
Why did you receive a pretrial bond if the case was dismissed?
I received a signature bond. I received a signature bond because the case was ongoing. And once the case was ongoing, they let me out on the signature bond because I did not have failure to appear, Your Honor.
What was the charge in DeKalb?
The charge in DeKalb it was a stop sign charge. Let me see.
Mr. Howard, do you have a open traffic case in
He
the court?
he might be talking about the city detention center pretrial. I think
Yeah,
that's what he's
that's
talking about.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
And what was the charges?
It was a stop sign.
Okay. So, Mr. Howard, what are his FTA dates? According to GCIC?
All right. I didn't see no. Hold on.
You indicated he had an excess of 50 cycles.
I did.
I don't.
Larry McCray. Hold on.
Your Honor, I documented.
Yeah, because he got out of state
numerous-
too.
I
Yeah.
I documented numerous on his driving history, but when I'm looking at the GCIC, the most recent one I see right in here is from 2020, failure to appear. That is DeKalb County, cycle 28.
Cycle 28. Yeah, that's FTA for better. That's 2016.
Yes.
My cycle 28 is 2016 FTA.
Any others?
Hold on.
Or is that the only one?
I'm counting. Judge, there's a lot of arrests now. Hold on. There's plenty of violence in here. I know that. I'm all the way to 07 and I don't see nothing. Let me go out of state real quick because he got a lot out of Illinois. Oh, the last arrest in Illinois was in 98.
Then that's okay. And when was the limited permit issued, Mr. McCrary?
It was issued I think it was issued in November of 2020. This is 23.
All right. And what were the restrictions on the limited permit?
I had it was an accident, Your Honor.
What are the restrictions on the limited permit?
What is the restrictions are work, and home. Work, home. Those are the restrictions, Your Honor.
All right, let me see. If you choose to speak, sir, you open yourself up to being cross-examined and incriminated. And my question to you is, with in excess of 50 cycles, arrest cycles, so your license was definitely suspended and you only had a limited permit. And this incident date occurred at September 13th, 2024. Which is a Friday night. What were you doing on Friday night?
I was coming from work. I was dropping a female off that works with me when the incident occurred, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. And where do you work?
I work for Essential Staff, and at that time I was working for the Stonecraft Apartments. I do.
So you will have a schedule of work hours to show that on that particular day that you left late at night on Friday.
Yes, I do maintenance work.
Sir, I'm just asking you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
On the hit and run, your bond is going to be set at $2,000, and that's going to be a surety bond. On the driving while license suspended or revoked, and that's going to be a $500 surety bond. Your total bond is $2,500. No driving unless you have a valid driver's license, not a limited permit, not a temporary permit, a valid reinstated Class C driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration for the vehicle that you operate. Your next court date is going to be October 22nd. If you do make bond, please be sure to maintain a current address with the court. Thank you.
What's that total?
2,500 surety. All right, just go over the calendar. Position number 1, Banks was a $1,000 surety reset to October 22nd. Position 2 is a $2,000 cash bond reset to October 22nd. 3, Jones is a $1,500 surety bond reset to October 22nd. 4 is a $5,000 split bond reset to October 22nd. 5, Manlove is a $4,000 signature bond to pretrial level 3. 6, McCrary is a 2,500 surety reset to October 22nd. And our add-on is transferred to the district attorney's office to do his first appearance with felony court tomorrow. Well,
Your Honor, I do have a late filing for one person on our pull sheet that has a felony case in first appearance this morning. We have a case that's a simple assault and a terroristic threats. If we can see if that's been pulled down.
do you have an accusation number or a jailing number?
Yeah. Durante Murphy's booking number is 241-7511.
Mr. Jordan, do you have any get to find you. Durante, what was the last name?
Murphy, I was trying to find a CR number.
Yeah, I'll get it one too.
All right. And I'm sorry, Miss Allen, what was that last name again?
First name Durante, Durante, last name Murphy, Murphy. That's 24 CR 006954.
006954. Okay. And accused of simple assault from warrant number EW 045730. The warrant judge set a bond at 5,000 surety, and his pending felony case is 24 PI 007434. Okay, Mr. McLean or Mr. Cook, have you had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Murphy?
Yes, Your Honor. It appeared to me that there was an affidavit for arrest that we used for these content purposes that referred to him speaking words to a person while having his hand near his waistband, was in the top paragraph that has the bold face. And it said, I think, holding his waistband in the probable cause paragraph just below that. That same information was in the ag assault charges that were the subject of the felony matter, and was like a follow-up, a different date conversation between the alleged parties.
No, they're two different cases.
I understand they're two different cases, but it seemed to me like it's a follow-up to the same parties in the felony case.
I understand. I've just read the warrant. So has Mr. Howard had a chance to do a GCIC, or Miss Allen, do you have a GCIC?
Yeah, I mean, he was on the pool sheet. I don't know why he's on the calendar, but I got a history.
Well, he wasn't on the calendar because his felony case is for shooting at this lady, the same lady, in her car with her children.
Oh, no, I got that. I got that part. I mean, I've read it from the warrant, but I just need to know whether Mr. Howard has a GCIC at the present time.
I do.
May I see if you have it, please?
4 total.
Okay.
2022, Cobb County, theft by receiving, fleeing an officer, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, and obstruction. 2021, reckless conduct conviction.
Involving a firearm?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, Miss Allen.
Let me see. I'll see if it's in Fulton and then look at the warrant and let you know.
Okay. And Miss Allen, for this young man, what's the state recommending for this new case?
So we did request that it be transferred based on the fact that he was arrested on 2 different cases with outstanding warrants for assaults and violence against the same woman. But that was declined. So he'll have a separate misdemeanor case for this. It'll be a subsequent issue. We're asking, Your Honor, for a $4,000 surety, $2,000 on each of the charges, no contact with the victim in this case, Denisha Harris. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I see he's in no bond status for the PI case.
Yeah, I don't think
He
they heard
has-
him. I don't think they heard him today, but I'll go check for y'all.
Thank you. And Miss Harris is on the line. We've been in touch with her today. If you'd like to sound for her, I'm not sure if she wants to speak, but.
All right. Miss Denisha Harris, please unmute.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Do you have children in the car?
I do. I have my kids in the car.
So I'm not going to let you say anything with regards to these cases.
Hold on, let me get out.
And leave your children in the car?
We're at home. We're at home.
Miss Denisha, that's not how it works.
They're
don't need-
out the car. They're out the car. They're going in the house. Like we just pulled up at home. They're going.
Are they in the house?
Yes, go in the house. Yes, ma'am.
Judge, they gave him no bond.
Okay.
Oh, it's a house.
All right. Are they in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Go shut the door.
The door is shut.
All right. I don't believe this woman. So, Miss Denisha, you may mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Your Honor, this isn't a family violence case, just for
No,
the court's information. This is a woman who is a acquaintance, and the aggravated assault in front of the felony court included shooting at her children.
I've read the warrant with regards to Miss Denisha Harris, EW 0458309. And so the only thing I want to know right now is based on this new incident involving the simple assault. So this is an allegation, and the defendant allegedly made an outburst of a statement and got himself arrested for simple assault. Mr. McLean, do you have anything else to add?
Your Honor, I have his authority to sign a waiver on his behalf. I just need a CR number, or I can say it's an unnumbered case and file it.
We have one. We have one. It's 24 CR 006 954. I don't know what is the letter designation.
And what number should I say it's on the?
It's going to be add-on position number 2.
Got it. Well, my waiver of presence is ready to be filed, and I'll just simply email that over.
The letter is C.
C, letter C.
Got it. Your Honor, he would ask the court, of course, in the absence of his presence, or the lack of his presence, he would like to ask the court to set a reasonable bond under the circumstances.
All right. Bond is going to be set at 2,000. It's a surety bond. No further contact with Denisha Harris. No illegal firearms. No alcohol, and to stay away from wherever Miss Harris is, wherever she lives, wherever she works, wherever she shops, including that Dollar Tree store. And I do beg your pardon, I didn't write down the address of that shopping complex.
It's 4472 Campbellton Road, Southwest, and he needs to stay away from her address at 2400 Omaha Road.
Okay, and is that in Atlanta too?
It is.
Okay. Miss Bridgewater, did you get those addresses?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. Okay, folks, any other add-ons, Miss Ellen?
I did get a question about Santana Phillips. Is that someone who you guys interviewed?
No, not I.
I did file an accusation, so.
No, I didn't interview Santana Phillips.
Mr. Santana Phillips
The
is
woman, female.
a female? Okay, I don't see, she is at the jail, but I don't see a new case with regards to her.
It's only 3. We could do a breakout to avoid her having to go to tomorrow.
She hasn't been accused yet.
She has.
Mr. Jordan, but none of the attorneys have spoken to her yet. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see her tomorrow. And if you, I don't think she's in the jail. Is she in courtroom 2? No? Okay. I'm not going to belabor this calendar any longer. We'll take care of it tomorrow. And do y'all need any other information?
Your
We
Honor,
don't-
I wanted to inquire about a Billy Lowe that was on our poll sheet. Did he bond?
That case was a felony.
Okay,
He's got a
Okay.
PI number. He was on first appearance today. It
Okay.
it just was, I could think, a mistake, honestly.
okay, thank you.
I think felony is also the result for Mr. McGlone and Mr. Joshua Burt made bond.
Mr. Burt is accused, but yeah, he made bond and Mr. McGlone's case was transferred. It's an aggravated stalking.
Okay.
And I filed bond revocations on his state court case. 2
Okay.
cases, sorry.
All right. Anything else, folks? All
That's
right.
it.
Okay, folks, y'all have a great Wednesday afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Judge Law. Oh, you don't have to call it. She didn't go over here. Oh, she did? Yeah. So there was 2 charges for Durante Murphy. Well, I think Judge Law only said 1 bond. Just to let y'all know, but so I'll give her a call.
Okay.
So he had a simple assault and terrorist aggressive acts. So we'll email you all a copy of the bond order.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Did you see Santana Phillips come through? Wanna make
Yeah,
sure-
it's in the, yeah.
Okay, thank you. If I missed anything today, it's been a little bit messy, even though we have so few cases. Let me know.
Okay, will do.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.